listen, I know what you're thinking, but I'm not a gold digger. Wait, that's your name, sir. And he was like, oh yeah, that's my family's business. I was like, your family owns IKEA? What in the gold digger is this? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sam LaRue and this is State of Elevate. So today is my infamous story time that I've been promising you guys for a while. And this story time is how I met and dated a multi-millionaire. So if you're interested in this story time, I know it's been heavily requested, so if you're interested, then stay tuned. This is gonna be a long one, so grab some popcorn, like grab your favorite wine. You might need to take breaks on this one because not only am I giving you my story time, but hopefully you learn from my mistakes so you don't have to make the same mistakes like I did, because I totally dropped the bag. Literally, I dropped the bag. And that ain't never cute when you drop a whole entire multi-million-dollar bag. That ain't never cute. So anyways, so let's get right into it. So I was at Starbucks one day. I was sitting there minding my business, getting a little work done. Instead of working from home, I'll work at Starbucks, right? And this guy sat at the table next to me. So I'm doing my work, I'm not even paying attention. I got my laptop out, got papers flying. I'm really like focused. I happen to make eye contact with him. And he's like, oh, you must be busy with some schoolwork. I see you over there working hard. And I was like, silly rabbit. I was like, no, I'm out of school. This is work. And so he was like, oh, well, what do you do? And so we sparked up a conversation. So at that time, I really wanted to do real estate investment. So I wanted to do like flipping homes and buying old homes and repairing them and selling them, the whole thing. So he happened to be in real estate. I was like, oh, good sir, really? And he was like, I didn't do all that. I was just like, oh, okay, cool. So he was telling me all about his real estate endeavors, and he did more of the commercial side. So he sold like apartment complexes and what else? Like businesses, like doctor's offices and things like that. So basically multi-million-dollar deals. So we're talking. And we have so much commonality. Now, this is an older gentleman. He had to be probably in his 50s. Older gentleman, he's white collar, very buttoned up. So I'm not really thinking of it like on a romantic side. I'm thinking of it more like this could be a great mentor. Like he has a whole 50 years of knowledge in real estate. So we're really talking, we're hitting it off, we're going back and forth, there's some banter going on. He ends up saying, hey, well, let's exchange numbers, and maybe once you're done later on, we can maybe meet up. There's a steakhouse like right across from the Starbucks. And I was like, well, I'm gonna be pretty busy all day, Steve, but we can exchange numbers. So we exchanged numbers, and at this time I'm like, I have got a mentor. At this point, I don't know, he could be a fledgling real estate broker, or he could be a thriving one. I don't know. He could just be talking and not even be in real estate. Who knows? So I really take it with a grain of salt at this point. Let's call him Mr. M for Millionaire. So I give Mr. M my number and don't know if I'm going to hear from him again. Of course I do. Like the next day, he's like, hey, great meeting you, da-da-da-da-da. I'm going to stay in touch. I'm going out of town, but when I come back in town, I would love to hang out with you. So when he gets back in town, he does call me. And he's like, hey, come meet me. I'm going to the steakhouse. Come meet me there. We can meet for drinks, and then maybe go to the steakhouse if you're comfortable, or we can just meet for drinks and you can go about your way, but I would love to hang out with you again. So we meet at like his favorite bar, and it was very nice. Like at that point, probably one of the nicest bars I've been to. It's like I walked into the Great Gatsby. So I valet my car, I go in, it's the Great Gatsby. It's like this whole chandelier, gala extravaganza. And I'm like, what did I just walk myself into? Okay. But it's low key. That was the beauty of it. It was low key. It wasn't a bunch of people there. You know, this is where the rich go. So I go in and I'm sitting down. I get a drink. He walks in. We're talking. We have the best time ever. We're just laughing, joking, enjoying ourselves. We end up going for dinner. So I was like, okay, I'm comfortable. He's not the serial killer. He obviously has a little quaint. He obviously has a little quaint. He might really be a real estate investor. So I'm going to go ahead and follow up with this dinner. So after the drinks, we end up going for the dinner. felt comfortable. And again, it was great. He was teaching me all about wine because at that time I wasn't really a wine drinker. So he's telling me all about the wine and I was just enthralled. I was like, really? Like, we're buying $200 bottles of wine. And I'm thinking, $200 for a bottle of wine? Really? Okay. We're talking, we get the steak. The steak is delicious. It's like mouth-watering. It's like butter melting in my mouth. I'm like, this is the best experience. I'm here with great company. We've got the great wine that does taste, it tastes like $200. Like every sip is like $50. And I'm like, yes, $50. I can taste it. My testicles, well, not my testicles. Not my testicles. What is it? My tonsils. Back in my throat was like, yes, $50 of wine. It tasted rich. The experience was rich. I was like, now I'm not used to this, but I like it, Mr. M. Thanks. And I like that he was teaching me things. So I was used to, at that point, teaching men things. Even though I've dated men primarily 10 years older than me, I'm used to teaching them. So when you have a man that's older and distinguished and he's teaching you things, it's like refreshing. I was like, maybe I've been missing out my whole life. Like, wow, like this is phenomenal. So we end up leaving. He gives me a hug. He pays for the valet and I go about my way, right? Now, let me tell you where I'm at this point as far as relationship wise. So at this point, I had just gotten out of a long-term relationship, I would say over 5 years. And I had just broken up with him. And this was like the final breakup of many breakups. This might have been like the 30th breakup with him. Like it was like a constant. I was constantly in and out with him. Mainly because, this guy was like air. It was a magical, special chemistry that we had. When I was around him, no one and nothing else mattered. It was like the birds were chirping, the butterflies were brewing, and it was like 5 years in, I still had butterflies when we hugged. We would have the best time sitting in the car talking, but he was an asshole. So although there was the chemistry, there was all this great stuff going on, he was a dick. Everything would be going great, and he would like make sure it's not going great. Like he would, jack up the mood, or he was very kind of manipulative. At that time, I did not know what a narcissist was. That's him to a T. So anyways, long story short, I was done. I was at my wit's end. I was like, listen, this isn't working for me. I finally was like, I don't care if I never feel this feeling that I feel with you. I don't care. I'm done. So we broke up. I probably met Mr. M a week or two after the breakup. So then I meet Mr. M, and Mr. M just sweeps me off my feet. He's like the antithesis of the ex. Me and Mr. M had no chemistry, but everything else, his treatment, the way he pampered me, the way he made it his life mission to make sure I was comfortable, I was safe, I was secure. He was a provider and a protector. So what ended up happening is Mr. M would call me. He used to call me every week. After the dinner, he was like, I really like her. I'm vibing with her. So he would call me like every week and be like, hey, I'm going to come in town. I want to make time for you. When are you free? Let's go to this play. I know you've been working hard trying to get your real estate up and running. Why don't I take you to the spa? When he was out of town, he would say, hey, I just made reservations for you at the spa. You have a whole day and you can do whatever you want. I've already paid for it. They have my credit card, so go to town. So he was just very persuasive with his niceness. So what ended up happening is my birthday rolled around and he was like, I got something for you for your birthday. And I was like, oh yeah. Because at this time it was just like lavish dinners, it was spas and things like that. So I was like, oh yeah, Mr. M is going to lay it down for the dinner. I mean, keep in mind we're just friends, but I was thinking like, he's going all out with everything else. Surely you're spending $200 on one bottle of wine. So I'm thinking like, oh, this is going to be great. Like, can't wait for the birthday. I'm like, it's my birthday. It's my birthday. Okay, so sorry. I'm enthralled. I'm like, it's going to be great. We have a nice dinner. He gives me this little box. I'm thinking, jewelry for me? I open up this box and I was like, what is this, sir? It was gold earrings. I don't know if it was real gold, but it was gold. And then it had like little, like a leaf It was a leaf shaped gold earring. I was just like, thank you. That's what I said. But in my mind, I'm thinking, where am I even gonna wear these big old leaf earrings? They look like very boho-y. So I was just like, thank you. These are cute. I'm always grateful for any gift. But he was like, are you sure you like them? I could always take you shopping. And I was like, well, if you just must. If you really want to. And he was like, oh, say no more. Let's go shopping. Which mall do you want to go to? And that started our shopping sprees. When I say shopping sprees, we would go to the mall and we would ball out. So he ended up buying me a whole wardrobe. Long story short, like we went to the mall and he would just love to watch me shop. Like, just come out and show me all the clothes. And so I would come out and show him all the clothes and he'd be like, oh, that looks great. Oh, that looks great too. Oh, I love that. I love that. And so we ended up buying up the mall, like literally, like every store I went into, I was just going to town. Gucci, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, like I was getting it because I didn't know how to act. I had never experienced anything like this. So I was just like, wait, I can have this Gucci and I can go to Louis Vuitton and get that too? And so he'd just be like, if you want it, yeah, you can get it. And we're just friends. Best friend in the world. I'm thinking like, I hit the gold mine. This is the best friend ever. I'm in love with our friendship. Like, Mr. M, you're the best friend I've ever had in life. Not only were we going on shopping sprees, but Mr. M was really just invaluable when it came to, like, he gave me a lot of real estate advice. I got a job offer and he told me to take the job. And I probably wouldn't have taken it if it wasn't for him because the job offer was in real estate. It was working for a home builder in sales. And so it was pretty much kind of doing what I wanted to do, but not really because I didn't want to work for a company. I wanted to do my own thing. But he persuaded me, as a good friend would. He was like, you're gonna need connects, and this is kind of your way in to learn about the local real estate and really learn the tricks of the trade and build up your repertoire. I'm glad he kind of coaxed me into that job opportunity because if it was for me, I probably would have been like, I want to do my own thing. I want to struggle and have strive. So he really helped me with things like that. He was just a really great guy. Now, let me preface it. We're doing all these things, right? We're doing the shopping sprees. We're going to the mall weekly. You know, I needed new clothes, right? I was in real estate. I needed new clothing. So we're doing all of these things, but we weren't being intimate. So that's the one thing we weren't doing. We're doing all the extravaganzas and all the plays and musicals and the mall, and we were doing it all. We're going to every steakhouse in Texas. We were living the life, but we were not being intimate. Not even a little, not even a smidget, not even a touchy, no touchy-touchies. None of that. One, because I was not sexually attracted to him. I really thought of him as a mentor and a friend. So that's one. And two, he was a gentleman. Like, he didn't pressure me. He wasn't trying to be all up on me. He wasn't like, okay, now that I bought you this Louis Vuitton bag, now what are you going to do for me? He never asked or advanced for any sexual favors ever. And I do think that that's key, and especially women that are sugaring, you don't want to give it up. Giving it up is when you lose your power. The key is to not give it up. So I do think that's important to note, that he never pressured me. He never asked. I honestly think he just really liked my company. You know, when men get older, and I think it's flattering to have the company of a woman that you can get along with, that she makes you feel special. She tickles your fancy. You have the best time with her. Time flies. You just enjoy yourself. Then you have her on your arm and other people are staring at you and looking at how beautiful she is. And, you know, it does something for a man's ego. So I think for him, he was getting enough out of that the sexual part, now I don't know. We never discussed it. So he maybe really wanted to be intimate and just didn't bring it up. He was waiting for me. But nevertheless, it never happened. It never happened, and the beauty of it is he never, ever pressured me. A lot of these men, especially when they're older, they just like feeling useful and valuable and special, and they just like being around younger, attractive women. So I think that was his case. Let me quickly tell you how I knew he was a multimillionaire. This is an interesting part. So we're driving along on one of our shopping sprees, and I knew his whole name. First name, last name, I had looked him up. He was legit. He was doing multi-million-dollar deals. So I knew he had money, right? I was like, okay, he's legit. He checks out. He's got the money. He's got the cash. So we're driving along, minding our business. I'm looking up at billboards. It's like la da da. I'm looking up. I see a big billboard with his name on it. His last name is a very unique name. It's like, let's say if his last name was IKEA. I look up and I'm like, IKEA? Wait, that's your name, sir? And he was like, oh yeah, that's my family's business. I was like, your family owns IKEA? It would be the equivalent of that. Now, obviously it wasn't IKEA, but I'm saying it was the equivalent where his family owned a major chain business. And I'm like, huh? Wait, huh? I was like, you never told me about that. And it's something in, I don't know if I want to say. I don't want to say. Never mind. I won't say. But yeah. So I was like, you never told me about that. And we went to businesses just like that. Why didn't you tell me? He's like, oh, it's a family thing. I don't really tell everybody all that. But yeah, it's a family. It's me and I think maybe he had a brother that owns it. They co-own it or whatever. I don't know. Who knows? I just know he's rich. I'm like, okay. And then the next thing is on the way to the mall, we end up, he was like, well, let me stop by really quick. I just have to drop something off at my house. Now, let me say, I don't go to men's houses. Even when I'm dating them, I'm not going to your house because that's when trouble ensues, right? This is when you get the roofie, or what does Bill Cosby call it? The thigh openers. This is when you get the thigh opener and you wake up the next day like, wait, what has happened here? So I don't go to people's houses, period. I don't do that. And then you don't come to my house. So we meet at a location, and then we can hop in your car, hop in my car, whatever we need to do. But I'm not going to your house, you're not going to my house. And this is how you stay out of situations of intimacy. This is how you stop them from even thinking intimacy is even possible. Because if you're not sitting around at their house on their couch, then there's no way for you to even get intimate. So I was kind of like, stop by your house. And he's like, oh, I'm just going to run in real quick and grab something. I'm going to run out. So I was like, okay. So we stopped by his house, and ladies, the man lived in the richest part of Dallas. And I mean, like, this is old money. Multi-million, billion, rich. Like, everyone is multi-billion, billion zillionaires in this neighborhood. And I'm like, what are we doing here? You live here? So yeah, he drove up to like the richest part of town. And I'm just like, this man is balling ridiculously. And it's so interesting because you would never know. You would never tell. Like, he looks like a basic regular schmegler Joe Schmo. And that's why I say this is another thing to note. Men will walk up to you and you'll be looking at them like, is he a plumber? And he could be a billion zillionaire. You just never know. So you never want to judge a book by its cover. Because if I judged him, I would have thought he was like maybe a manager at Walmart. That's kind of what he looked like. Just like, okay, just an average looking guy. He didn't have nice watches. He didn't have like nice shoes. He just was like regular degler. He was a multi-millionaire. Like old money, like family, old decrepit money. Like, you know, that his mama's mama had money. Like, she married into money in the 1800s, and it's trickled down, that kind of money. So what ends up happening is, at that point, I'm just like, okay, now I know who I'm dealing with. I did not know the extent, but now I know. So we dated for a little bit longer. He ended up spending probably we dated for like, we went out, not dated, but we went out and hung out for about 2 months, I'll say. Within 2 months, he roughly spent maybe $20,000-$30,000 on me. He bought a whole new furniture, because what ended up happening is I ended up moving to kind of get away from my ex, get a fresh start. So he was like, you're gonna need furniture. He bought me a whole new furniture for my whole entire house. He bought me a whole new wardrobe, jewelry, bags. He did it all. And he offered to buy me a car. But at that point, I was just like, now that's going too far. Like, that's a bit extreme. Like, I don't know why the cutoff for me was the car, but that was the cutoff for me. I was like, I would feel uncomfortable. Like, how would I even explain this to my family and friends? Like, I'm good on the car. But I will say where I went wrong is when we went out, I felt a certain way about the stairs, because of course he's much older than me. He's old enough to be my dad, right? He's like 30 years older than me. So we're going out and people are looking at us like, what in the gold digger is this? And I just got in my head. I was like, I'm not a gold digger, guys. I'm not. We're just friends. I'm not a gold digger. I literally hadn't asked him for one thing. He would just be like, you need this. Let me buy this. So he was always in the state of like, you need it. I'm going to buy it for you. I never once asked him for anything. So I was like, I'm not a gold digger and I'm not doing anything. Like, I'm just minding my own business. He's calling me, offering me stuff. Every stare, I want to pull them aside and be like, listen, I know what you're thinking, but I'm not a gold digger. And I rebuff that thought. I'm not. I'm a good girl and I'm innocent. I don't know what you're thinking, but no, that's what I want to do. But obviously I could not. And that really started to get to me because I'm like, every time we went out, I started to think like, they think I'm a gold digger. No, they think I'm a gold digger. At the end of the day, who gives a damn? Okay, that's the lesson I learned is, are they paying any bills? Are they buying me furniture? Are they offering to buy me a car? Nope. So don't really give a damn on what anybody thinks. What does that have to do with any other person on this earth? And so that's my lesson that I learned, because that was my only hang up, is I'm running around here worried about what other people are thinking. And I was worried about like, well, what if I bump into a friend? What would they think? How would I explain it? I was like, not all there, because I'm like, this man fulfilled every single need, maybe except for one, but there's one he didn't touch, but he fulfilled every single need. He was emotionally there. He was mentally there. He was a provider. He was a protector. Why do I care what anyone thinks? So that was my downfall, okay? But I started to get in my head and I was like, you know what? Maybe we're taking this too fast. I know we're just friends, but I don't want you getting the wrong impression. Like, you're doing all this stuff for me. Eventually, you're going to want something more than a smile, right? You're going to want more than a smile and maybe, bye, see you tomorrow. You're going to want more than that. And so I was starting to kind of push away from him. I started to be more distant, like not answering phone calls, being busy when he came into town, like, oh no, I can't come. I can't go this weekend. I can't go to the mall, the play or musical or wherever, the car show. I got stuff to do. Like, can't do it. Sorry. I started to be very distant and I was missing the spark because he actually gave me everything I wanted. So I was like, oh my gosh, if I just had a connection with him, it would be perfect. If I just had that chemistry. And that led me to opening up my heart for the ex, the loser. Kind of weaseled his way back in. Listen, I'm changed. I'm different. I'm new and improved. Guess how long that lasted? I'm better now. I've read a book. I'm better. Okay, sir. But you know, it worked because we were just fresh off a breakup and I was like, he read a book. Maybe he has changed. If I can only kick my old self, I would. This is the finale, guys. So what ended up happening is me and the ex were talking, right? We were kind of back in that talking stage. I'm at that you need to prove yourself stage, right? So that's where we're at. He came over to my job one day because at this point I had been at my job for like a month. So he came to the job like to celebrate. I was in a model home. So he was helping me like decorate the model home or whatever. So I noticed at the corner of my eye, I see somebody pulling up to the model home. And I'm thinking, oh, is it a customer? Am I going to sell a house today? No, it wasn't a sell. It wasn't a customer. It was none other than Mr. M. So I'm in the model home with the ex. I see Mr. M pull up out of the windows because I'm in the model home. It's decked out just like a real home. There's windows in the front where you can just see directly out. There's no blinds or shades or anything. So they can see in, I can see out. I see him pulling up and he probably saw me and yeah, he definitely saw my car. So he knew I was there. I had been ignoring his phone calls. Yes, I'd been ignoring the calls. And I guess he just pulled up to see like, is she okay? What's going on? Why is she ignoring my calls? I done spent $30,000 in a couple months on this girl. What's going on? And so he pulls up, I see him and I panic. I lock the door. I didn't know what to do. I was like, let me lock the model home door. I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna pretend I'm not here. It's just, I'm invisible. You can't see me, I'm invisible. So I lock the doors and Mr. M is like, knock, knock, knock. I know you're in there, Samantha. I see your car. I see you. And I was like, oh my God, this is not happening. Say it's not so. Now, what I will say is I already told the ex about Mr. M. Like, I already told him because why lie? Like, I'm like, I have a friend. I told him the whole thing. And so he knew. Luckily, I told him. Who knows what happened if I didn't tell him. But so my ex ends up talking to him through the door. They're going back and forth. Like, he's like, well, she's busy, or she doesn't want to come to the door and talk to you right now. Mr. M is like, I care about this woman. Please open up the door. What did I do wrong? And my ex is like, listen, dude, she's no longer interested. Please leave. I'm like about to have a heart attack because I'm like, I just started this job. I've got these two men out here acting a fool, yelling back and forth like banshees. And it's just like, why is this happening at my job? At this point, the neighbors, because we're in a neighborhood that's being developed. So where the model home is, it's 2 rows of houses in the neighborhood on each side of the street, full of neighbors that have now started coming outside their house. They've got their lawn chairs. They're sitting outside just chilling, watching, just having a good old time. Watch. I'm like, they're not even embarrassed that they just pulled their little lawn chairs out and they're watching this. They're not. So they're out there. Mr. M is frustrated, wanting to know what's going on. And he's going back and forth. And this is how I know how much money he spent, because he was like, I spent $30,000 on this woman. Can you please just tell me what I do wrong? Like, I did all this for you. And so I'm embarrassed. I'm like, oh my God. So him and my ex go back and forth. Eventually he leaves. Then my ex is just like, what is going on? The ex ends up leaving. I'm like, oh, y'all gotta go. Y'all gotta get up out of my model home. Y'all got to go. This is the place of business. I was so embarrassed. And although I was a little impressed, I was like, Mr. M, oh, I didn't know you had it in you, Mr. M. Mr. M was like, listen, this is my girl. Even though I was like, wait, hold up, sir. This is my girl, and I'm about to fight. Like, we're about to duel. I thought he was gonna pull out a sword and just be like, let's sort it out. Like, I was like, what's gonna happen next? I'm kind of like the neighbors, like, wait, what are we about to do? Are we dueling to the death? But yeah, so I was kind of impressed, like, okay, alpha man, yes, you fight for your lady. But then I was like, well, we never discussed being together and more than a friendship vibe, sir. Like, I was kind of confused, like, wait, what? So I think that's where he thought it was headed. Like, I'm gonna spoil her, I'm gonna wine and dine her, and eventually she's gonna want to be like more than friends. Like, I'm gonna prove myself to her. And I think that's what he was thinking. So he was doing all these nice gestures in the hopes of one day we could be like in a relationship. It wasn't even sexual for him either. I think he just really was like, I really want to be with her. I want her in my life. I want to marry her. I think he was going down that hill. And as soon as I kind of got a whiff of that, like, man, he might be taking it too serious. That's when I was like, no, Mr. M. Like, you ruined it. Why can't we just stay friends? But anyway, so we might have talked one time after that. I was just kind of like, I thought we were just friends. I didn't know you had all these feelings. And so we kind of talked it out, and he was like, well, yeah, I've had these feelings for a while. He kind of expressed his feelings, and I ended up saying, well, I just got out of a relationship, sir. Like, I'm not looking for a relationship, but, maybe down the line, who knows? And so we kind of ended it at that. And then, needless to say, I don't even think we need to mention this, but yeah, the ex, he lasted maybe a week, and I was like, I'm done with you, sir. Like, you'll never change. I don't even know why I thought you would. And hence why I'm a big proponent of not wasting your time, ladies, because he was a 5-year waste of time. Although I did learn a lot. So I do have that, but it's a waste of time trying to think you can change a man because you can't. So it is what it is. A lot of times we think like, why didn't he get it? Why don't he understand? I just want him to get it, and then our life would be perfect. But, they have to go through their own journey. And I'm sure it's kind of like Mr. M. Mr. M is probably like, why doesn't she get it? I'm doing all this for her. I have all these things for her. I would give her the world, and I just didn't, it just didn't connect through my head that, like, forget that he's older. Forget that he's not your typical guy you would date. He's treating you the way you want to be treated. He's answering the calls. He's going above and beyond. He's a provider. He's a protector. He will duel to the death for you. He is your guy. Like, this is your guy. And you have a great time with him. Like, y'all have the best time with each other. This is your guy, And I couldn't see it. So it's funny how we all were kind of playing roles that none of us could see the clear picture. But anyway, so that's my story. Hopefully you learned something from that. Hopefully if you have a provider, a protector, that you don't squander that because he doesn't look perfect, or he's not dressed perfect, or he doesn't give you butterflies. Butterflies is when you don't have to worry about bills. That's the butterflies. Butterflies is when I'm not worried about having to work 2 and 3 jobs to take care of a bill. Butterflies when you have a man that wants you to feel good, and they're like, just go to the spa, it's on me. Whatever you want to get, however many massages, whatever facials you want, go for it. I got you. That's butterflies. Why I didn't realize that till after the fact, it took me about a year after I had healed from my ex to really realize, like, man, Mr. M was a keeper. Mr. M was that special diamond in the rough that you don't get in a lifetime. Like, it's that rare entity that's like loving, caring, special, genuine, good-hearted, caring, wants you to succeed and wants the best for you and is not competing with you. Just he's an all-around great guy, not to mention a multimillionaire. Just saying, just an added, that's just the cherry on the top. Mr. M, if you ever watch this, shout out to you. I do hope that you're living your best life. You've met the girl of your dreams that didn't take you for granted and just is really treats you like the diamond in the rough that you are. So that would be my one wish for him. If he's out there, I hope he's just living his best life because he deserves it. He's a phenomenal guy. And hopefully for everyone watching this, hopefully you don't make this mistake I make. If there's a guy out there that treats you good, give him a shot. See where it goes and open up your eyes to the signs. Don't get jaded by worrying about what other people may think. And don't get sidetracked by the F-boy, the loser, the assholes. So yeah. Anyways, that's my story time. I think we made it through. Hallelujah. Y'all don't know. I need to go open up a bottle of wine because, baby, when I tell you how many times I've tried to do this video, it has been, well, let me not even say anything. I have to watch this on the playback because I'm saying all this and it's probably like the sound is off or something crazy. Something crazy. It's something with this video that it just don't want me to be great. It don't want me to be great. Anyway, stay tuned and go on my website. I'm going to have materials. I'm trying to help the girlies on getting your own provider man and also how to finesse it in the dating world. So stay tuned for that, lovelies. And until next time, I will see you beautiful, smart, intelligent, lovely ladies later. Bye.
And it goes a little something like